Yep.
And so you'll just kind of guide this thing. All right. So look, we're starting. 3, 2, 1. Hey there, we're here on behalf of Arts Bellevue. Thank y'all so much for having us. My name is Les Kerr, and I'm here with Suzy Ragsdale and Jamie Kindleyside. We are all 3 songwriters and have known each other peripherally all these years. And I met Jamie years ago at the Bluebird Cafe, and then Suzy and I met in Mississippi at the Mississippi Songwriters Festival probably about 12 or 13 years ago. It's been a while.
Maybe it was probably 2009 or 10.
Okay, well there you go then.
Yeah, because that's when I was hanging out with all those Mississippi boys.
That's right, that's right. Well, I'm one too. But if you don't know me, and you'd be amazed at the number of people that have never heard of me. But be that as it may, I'm a singer and a songwriter and a band leader, and I grew up on the Gulf Coast in Pascagoula, Mississippi, and have spent a lot of time in New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama before I moved here. Been in Nashville 37 years, and have been in Bellevue the entire time. Bellevue is where I moved in 1987. I've been in the Bellevue area all those years, and I really enjoy it. And it's great to now see all the activity involved in music and arts and things like that. So anyway, and Suzy, tell us a little bit about your background and what you'd like for us to know about you.
Okay, first of all, that's my puppy Inky that you can hear in the background. She wants to be on camera, but we'll leave her in the cage. I was born in Nashville. It's a very rare thing to have been born in Nashville and be in the music business, because most people come here like y'all did for the music. But my father moved here in 1962, 2 years before I was born, for the music, and then I got to be born here at Vanderbilt Hospital. And he's had a good career. He's still plucking away at making records all the time. He's really good. So I just grew up knowing I was going to be a piano-playing songwriter. And he showed me a few tricks or wrote out some sheet music for me and helped me a little bit and critiqued my songs. And he was my publisher for a good, well, he still is, but I don't get paid anymore. But before my dog so rudely interrupted us, and they're outside now, I was telling about how my dad had come to Nashville a couple of years before I was born to make it in the music business, and he did really, really well. His name is Ray Stevens, and he's very cool. He just did his last real planned show on December 28th, and we went. It was funny. Oh my gosh. He's funny and serious songs too, but he taught me some piano things and made me get super interested in songwriting. And I grew up with a bunch of funky musicians going in airplanes in the summertime or when I could, or buses.
Well, let me ask you, as growing up around Nashville and being sort of immersed in the music business since you were a child, who influenced you musically that may be a surprise to us?
Ann Wilson of Heart, Elvis Costello, and then of course James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt, the Eagles. They were all, and the Beatles. My dad had all the James Taylor and Beatles records. So when I was a little girl, he was on the road. I listened to and sung harmonies with all of them. And then when I was about 15, I got really into Heart. And Ann Wilson is responsible for How I Can Sing So High. And then Elvis Costello is responsible for How I Can Sing So Low.
Well, see, as a native Nashvilleian, I'm surprised none of those names scream country music to me.
No, I didn't listen to country music until I was about 19 or 20, and I was working in recording studios as receptionist and accountant and stuff. And the country records were being made. Like when I was at Emerald, Vince Gill made his record there. Steve Winwood also made a record there while I was there. Not country, but and I was a associate producer on 2 radio shows in 1991 with Lon Helton, Nashville Now or Nashville Tonight or something, and then Jerry House's Saturday Night House Party, and all of the guests, and I'd answer the phone and take questions from listeners and send them through if they were not crazy. And then Jerry House and Devin O'Day, and what was that third guy's name?
Jerry House could make him crazy enough on his own.
He's funny.
He is hysterical.
Yeah, he was the
Al
Vex.
Al Vex,
That's
yes.
right. That's right. Also at Channel 8.
Yeah. Well, Jerry was really good friends with Dale Moore, who owned Emerald Sound Studio, millionaire from Montana that just loved country music. And he just had a several $1 million, and he bought it and started getting to know all the country Nashville people. And so then I had to listen to co-produce those shows, and I was like, this is pretty good. A lot of it, some percentage of it's great.
Sure. Well, Jamie, I remember meeting you the first time I met you. You were on stage at the Bluebird, and I was guest hosting, I think, for Jeff Pearson back in those days on the Sunday Night Writers Show. And so what you do on those writers shows, you introduce the people and you get a little information about them. And I introduced you, and I didn't have much to go on except your name. And I said, okay, our next performer is Jamie Kindleyside. And somebody said, Jamie, and you came back from the kitchen because you were a cook at the Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah.
And so that's really immersing yourself in the music of Music City.
Yeah.
Around all those songwriters all the time. But before that, tell us a little bit about where your music began.
I just, grew up in New England, and I loved like Buddy Holly and folk music. I loved writing folk songs. I became pretty obsessed with that. And when I moved down here, I don't even know. I didn't know anything about it. Those days at the Bluebird, when I first started at the Bluebird, this is how little I knew. I remember there was a woman singing a song, and she said, this is a song that George Strait recorded that I wrote. And she's singing this song in a male cowboy perspective. And I was sitting there thinking, why would you write this? How did this ever come about that you would write this? I didn't even know that there were staff writers. I was standing in the Bluebird working there, and I learned it when I got there. I'm like, what are these people doing? Then I hear the same person say, oh, I wrote this song. Then like 3 nights later, somebody else would say, I wrote this song.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute. Somebody else wrote that song.
And I've heard men
they all
sing from
wrote
a
together.
female perspective too.
Yeah, it wasn't till like, I don't know. But the funny thing was, then from there, after hours, after we get done, me and Dustin Welch and Corey Yance and Justin Earl, after a while, we'd all go back to Dustin Welch's place, Kevin Welch's house.
Right.
He had a shed in the back called the Chicken Shack. And those guys, lo and behold, were into folk music, like the 20s, the Mance Lipscombs and all the old stuff, the Blind Blake, the stuff that I loved. And we would work at the Bluebird in that house, and then we'd all go over there and play that stuff all night long.
Well, you mentioned Dustin. When I would sub for Jeff and Steve Gooding doing that on Sunday nights, when Dustin did sound, he and I would talk, because where you sit as the host between your job while the singers are singing, songwriters are performing, right next to the soundboard.
Right.
And he and I got into this great discussion one time about Hunter S. Thompson. We were both into that very much.
Yeah.
And I remember I almost missed my opportunity to go back on stage because we got into this discussion. because a conversation at the Bluebird can be, or really among songwriters, can be just about all over the map.
As long as it's shh.
Yeah, that's right. You have to be quiet. You have to be quiet.
But we did get some.
And I promise we weren't talking while you were singing, Jim.
Yeah, right. I remember one night I was opening for Chip Taylor and I was washing dishes. So it's the late show. Chip Taylor is the late show, and then I'm opening for him. So I'm trying to get all the garbage out so it doesn't all get filled before I go on stage. And I had all the garbage, and I ran to the dumpster and I flipped the thing in there. And somebody had taken those old fluorescent bulbs and laid them on there. So as soon as the garbage hit them, they just exploded.
Oh, gosh.
All in the dust and glass. So then I'm in the back hallway holding my guitar, and Brian Hartman, the kitchen manager, is picking glass out of my hair. And Tony Woodruff's like, come on, you got to go on. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in front of a room full of people.
For those that don't know, Chip Taylor wrote Wild Thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, those are crazy days.
Well, my own musical influences really came from Mississippi and the Gulf Coast. And growing up in Pascagoula, I heard everything from New Orleans rhythm and blues and jazz to bluegrass, country, and gospel from South Mississippi and South Alabama. And my mother had that record that everybody's mother had by Harry Belafonte in there too. And so I called what I do Hillbilly Blues Caribbean Rock and Roll. Yeah. Because it really is that influence. And I also heard a lot of big band music and saw some great entertainers coming through, and like Andy Williams and people like that. And because I know you have an Andy Williams longtime family connection with him, I think.
Well, Andy's Andy's brother, Don Williams, was my father's manager, like artist manager, for like 50 years or something.
Well, I got to see Andy Williams and Henry Mancini perform together in Jackson, Mississippi. One of the most memorable parts of my youth was seeing that particular concert. So really kind of all over the map. And I think music is like that. There's so many styles out there, so many influences you can grab onto.
That's great that you did grab onto all of them, because it makes your thing its own unique thing, all of its own. You know?
Yeah, that your band, when I think you probably still do it. Do you still do the Mardi Gras
Mardi Gras show? We've done it for 31 years.
Every year you did it. And that was always great.
Well, it's one of the highlights of our year doing that.
It's a staple at the Bluebird.
Thank you.
It's great.
We've had a great time doing it, and that happened because I'd been playing at the Bluebird, and I knew Amy Curlin, and I said to her one day, I said, I'm not hearing any Mardi Gras activity in Nashville much. And I said, at that time it was just a little 4-piece group. I said, we can put something together if you want. She said, let's give it a try. Here we are 31 years later, 32 this year, going back to it. So
she was visionary.
And she has always been really supportive. I know y'all feel the same way.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for her. All good things in my life go back to her and the Bluebird.
Sure, she's been very good to me.
And she's had, like, for decades, Monday night was Blues Night with Mike Henderson. He passed away, sadly, but Dylan Altman took it over, and now somebody else it's the same band that Henderson had. And then she also had, like, these Englishmen that happened to live in Nashville. Not country music, but really diverse, really good. Yeah.
Well, my game plan when I moved to Nashville for the first solid year, every Monday night, back then you could do Barbara Cloyd's Show Up and Sign Up Writers Night just by literally showing up and signing up. Now it's much more complicated and popular. But anyway, and we could do 20 minutes. So I would go there, do that, and then stay for Mike Henderson's Blues Band. And the King Snakes, and then what did they call them? Something else after that.
King Snakes.
Yeah, or something. Anyway, so that was kind of and I love the blues, and Mike Henderson was so good at it.
So good. That's back when they let him smoke on stage.
Yeah.
Him and Guy Clark, they got to smoke.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing would open up on Mondays, the late show. A lot of those open micers would leave. They would be like, okay, we're done. And then they'd leave, and then after that, it turned into a whole different place. And then everybody would come. Vince Gill would come down to those shows and sit in. John Prine used to come and sit in, not in with the band, but he'd come and sit, him and his brother Billy would sit and hang out. Everybody would come to that show. It was kind of funny because all the open micers would do it, and then they'd all leave thinking that was it. Then that is when the real fun started, and everybody showed up.
I was talking about smoking one year before our Mardi Gras show. Amy, it was scheduled, of course, on Fat Tuesday, and she called me on the phone. She said, do any of your band members smoke? I said, I don't think so. Maybe one. I don't know. She said, would you mind if we did it a non-smoking, made that night a non-smoking night? And I said, we wouldn't mind at all. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because Monday night is just smoke the place out.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
It kind of had to fumigate it after Monday night for the rest of the week, I think.
Well, Guy Clark and separately Mike Henderson, they would always stick their lit cigarette in the headstock. Like,
right here.
And play a while, and then they'd take a drag while somebody else was playing solos. One night I was there with a good friend here in Mike Henderson, but I was so tired. She just wanted me to go. And so I'm sitting like right in front of the stage with her, and I dozed off some like long, slow bluesy, and I was just like, and Mike Henderson gets off the stage with his cigarette in his headstock, and he comes right up to my face and just shreds it in front of me, and I was like, oh! The smoke woke me up.
That's something. Well, how did you two get together? I know, Suzy, you've had a long career as a songwriter and a performer and recording artist. How did you come to produce Jamie's album? Which we all mentioned, I guess we hadn't talked about that.
Well, she's producing my record.
It's great. It's finished, but we don't have it pressed and printed yet. We're going to do vinyl, too.
Yeah. But it just, I don't know, it's just like came together.
I knew him since 90, 91, whenever he first came to Nashville at the Bluebird.
Right.
And he's back there making food and washing dishes. And I'm on stage with Daryl Scott and Merlin Thompson and, all these other people. And so we just knew each other to say hi. And then about, 2008 or 9 or 10,
Well,
I sang on your record.
Yeah, that's what kind of inspired me to call her. Because she sang
harmony.
on a song years ago that I did with Jared Tyler, produced a record called Americana Blue. The song was called Walk With Me.
It's a good song.
And most of it we recorded in Tulsa, but then Jared was you actually did the parts at your house, but I wasn't there. And Jelly did his parts at your house too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jelly Roll Johnson.
I was going to say
Jelly
Roll
Roll Johnson.
Great
Yeah.
harmonica.
And the parts that she did, I just loved. They were so great. They were just like the 70s sort of soulful vibe about these parts. And I called her and I thanked her for doing it. And she's like, "Oh, I really like singing on those cool lyrics and da da da." And that was about it. And then when it came to this next record, this record that her and I did now, I was like, my wife Amy, I'm like, I kept just thinking of her. I was like, I'm going to call Suzy and see if she'll do it.
I made 6 records that he'd heard, so he knew that I kind of knew how to put a record together, even though I had help producing
and
mine.
her voice just, and then I just kept feeling like that's what I should do, because there's a lot of love songs. And Amy's like, well, just call her and just ask her. It's not going to hurt to ask. So I just called her and she said, well, come over. And then,
I'm not really a producer, but I know who to call.
Yeah, and then I gave her like 23 songs, and she narrowed it down. And then we were and then I was working next door for Bill.
My little house.
It was all just a God thing. Like it all just fell into
He
place.
was here like 3 or 4 days a week from 7 a.m. until
they
quit working at, the other carpenters are 70 and 79 years old. They quit working at 1 after lunch.
Yeah.
And he would stick around and we'd listen to songs and decide how to produce this
And
record.
she was kind of wishy-washy even then.
Oh, what?
But I don't. Well, she was like, we hadn't pinned anything down.
That's a gentle way to put it.
Right, and so, but then one day she comes up to me at the house, and I'm working. Literally, we're building this house next door, and she's like, she goes, I know what to do. I hear this whole thing. I know exactly what we need to do. And then we went to this little recording studio. I live in Dixon. It's like halfway between our 2 houses, literally. 2-inch analog tape.
All right.
It's so warm sounding.
That is going to be
you walk in
the room with the person when you hear that.
Yes,
it's like going back to 1977 in the studio. Even the carpet and everything.
Yeah, orange shag and brown.
And
That's
this,
in my house now.
and this brilliant Jeremy Deerdorf, this brilliant young
30
engineer.
years old, and he knows everything about analog.
So then she got Allison to come down there.
Allison Presswood.
Nick Buddha. He set up his drums. She set up her bass.
Set up your drums.
Yeah, it was my drum kit actually. And we did 10 of them in one day.
In like a 6-hour day with an hour for lunch that I catered.
And then we knew we had it. It was like we both came back here and listened to those, and we were like, we got it. This is gonna all happen.
So then I was like, I know exactly who to call.
Yeah.
I got Jonelle Monster to do about 4 background parts.
Yeah.
We went up to Chapmansburg, Tennessee, and got Dan Dugmore in his amazing studio house to do pedal steel and one electric. Oh. Dan Dugmore played on all the Ronstadt Eagles and who else?
Well, he was at the show you came to playing pedal steel.
Excellent.
I grew up listening to him playing steel on records.
Sure.
And he moved to Nashville in like '93 and started playing on demos for us. And they're like, wow, I get Dan Dugmore. We got Tammy Rogers King doing the fiddles.
Right.
It turned out to be like an all-star.
Well, I must say I was very excited to be invited to the release event for the album, and so impressive. One of the songs you sang must have had your carpentry roots in it. Didn't one of the songs that you sang, forgive me for not remembering the title, that you wrote, it's about pieces of, I may be going down a rabbit hole that doesn't exist.
I don't know.
Something of a building a love or building a, oh well.
We'll have to look through the list.
I'm sure it is.
14
I'm sure it's there.
Well, that was a nice show. It was really a good show.
Thank
It
you.
was also several months ago, so that it's not on the top.
Yeah, that's the first time
You can tell this is unrehearsed, as you can see. So
It's just how people like it.
we didn't prepare.
It was the first time we ever performed that record too.
It's true.
So everybody's hearing it all for that first time. And things stick out. Like when Jonelle came down, she sang that song. She was like, I remember 4 things about that song, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
4 random things, but yeah.
Well,
So
the
I guess,
one thing I learned today is that Les has a record coming out like the same week that yours is going to
Yeah.
be. Tell us about that.
Well, it's called Child of Highway 90, and Highway 90 is the Gulf Coast Highway. It begins in Jacksonville, Florida, and goes all the way through the Florida Panhandle, the Alabama Gulf Coast, the Mississippi coast where I come from, into Slidell, Louisiana, New Orleans, and points west. When I was growing up on the Gulf Coast, Interstate 10 was not completed yet.
Oh.
And Highway 90 was how we got everywhere. And frankly, it's still a very viable highway. To me, it's the Gulf Coast Route 66. It's a really interesting, the things you can see along the road are very interesting. Anyway, Highway 90 was how we got anywhere. We knew we had to go east or west. From Pascagoula, you could go east and go to Mobile, Pensacola. If you went west, you went to Biloxi and New Orleans. And Pascagoula is basically a shipyard industrial town. So we went a lot of different places, and it was all within easy driving distance. I tell people about the part of the world where I grew up, we went from Pascagoula and Biloxi to New Orleans like people drive from here to Clarksville and Franklin.
Yeah.
It's really very close. And you get that in that world, it's not any big deal to drive from Mississippi to Louisiana, to have fun or whatever, you go have dinner even. So anyway, the title song is called Child of Highway 90. It's based on that. And
I can't wait to hear it.
it's a lot of fun, and it mentions a lot of things that I remember about growing up down there. And yeah, Interstate 10 was not completed until I think after I was out of college, or at least close to it. So
now does the 10 go like from Orange Beach over to Perdido Key?
it's the interstate that goes north of all that.
Oh, it's north of
that.
There's not Highway 98 also goes right down into Gulf Shores and that way into Pensacola too.
Gotcha.
I think the Floribama, which we were talking about a little while ago, that's on Highway 98.
98. Okay.
But 90 is above that, and then I-10 is north of all that.
Yeah.
So,
Now a lot of rooms to play all through there.
Oh, yeah.
I
There's
saw
a lot
some of those
talented
local
people
guys.
down
gosh,
They
I'll tell you,
work all
I
the
played
time.
before I moved here. I played beach bars up and down the Gulf Coast, from New Orleans to Pensacola, and all over the place. And yacht clubs, different
Yeah.
things like that, where they actually had money to pay you. And
Right.
so
Yeah, you
that
get
was a key
$200
factor,
bucks.
back in those days. And so yeah, there was a lot of music of all sorts. Everything from bluegrass to blues and anything in between. Because
Beachy stuff.
well, some of it really. Jimmy Buffett was born in Pascagoula, but he grew up in Mobile mainly. I didn't really become aware of him till Come Monday came out.
I love Come Monday. That's my favorite Buffett song.
And then all
His
of a
sister
sudden,
has a restaurant.
right,
down.
Lulu's. And so anyway, Buffett was an influence after I had already started writing songs, and I'd been to college at Ole Miss, and I was in a bluegrass band up there. And so it just kind of all works together. Everything, like I say, all these influences come together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a fun place to
yeah.
live and play music.
You go down and spend.
Settle
You don't.
into that.
You might break even, but you don't make a ton of money. But you're at the beach.
You are.
People are listening to you.
And
Like,
people are
really
really
listening.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Do you have a new album out yourself?
Next. This
Okay.
year I'll do it. This
Okay.
year. I put one out.
Are we rolling yet?
Yeah,
All right.
would have said it. So go ahead and just count.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't made a record to put out since 2020, and I wrote and recorded the songs from 2018 to 2020, and I got all the great players, great producer, my friend Sam Frank from London, England. I had lived in London in 1999, 2000, at the turn of the century.
Ooh.
And he was coming back through from living in New Zealand and stayed here for 5 weeks in this house producing my 6-song EP. He did such a great job. It's called Ghost Town, and I'm proud of it. And then he got on the last plane that they allowed to go from Nashville to London to go back to his family. The last plane they would allow before COVID shut down
my.
all the, yeah. So then during COVID, I didn't perform very much or promote the record very much. It still got some chart action because of people that helped me promote it. But I've got a bunch of new songs or old songs that I never really put on a record. And the plan is for Jamie to help me make another package on me, potentially my father to produce a package on me, which
How
is
exciting.
a whole different animal with strings and horns and lush, lush, lush.
The Nashville sound.
Oh my God. Well, his show is like 21 people in the orchestra, all strings and horns.
And you heard it here first.
I hope he has time to do it. He's making about 5 of his own records all the time. But we'll do that with my dad, and then Jamie and I'll do maybe not a duet record, but have him have me a couple duets, like I used to make with Verla.
Well, see, what I want to see is when we do another one of these shows after your album comes out that your dad produces, to bring the whole orchestra right in here. I think that would be really...
Strings up.
That's
here.
right. Well, you've got plenty of room. It's a beautiful home. We are in Suzy's home, by the way. It is beautiful. Thank you for allowing us to do this here.
Makes it easy for me. I don't have to drive.
Les, did you get a chance to walk through his studio while you were at the cabaret?
Not the studio. Not the studio.
Oh,
That's cool.
I wish you could have seen that. We'll get you over there, but it's really.
I'd love to. Yes.
It's an unbelievable.
Thank you for
studio.
that invitation.
Well, I can't really
really,
invite
really.
you, but
On her behalf, I'll take it.
I wish we had walked you through there. It's really neat.
It's
Well,
nice.
Yeah,
Well, what would y'all think about us picking some music and playing it for the folks?
sure.
The friends and neighbors out there in Arts Bellevue.
All right, let me get, because if I pull, the low D is a little
Just out of
flat.
curiosity, what's the name of it?
If I didn't have you.
Oh,
Yeah, if I didn't have you. We all went.
Whatever you- yeah.
If I didn't have you.
Okay.
I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have you. I'd never love again, never love again.
Don't know what I'd be if you didn't love me. I'd never love again, never love again.
Like in the springtime, when the moon is shaking, flowers waking, birds are singing.
I'm just saying how lonely I'd be if you didn't love me. I'd never love again.
And no one else would do if I didn't have you. I'd never love again. Like in the winter, when it's cold outside, fire dancing in your eyes, sweet romance.
Don't know what I'd do if I didn't have you. I'd never love again.
I don't know I'd be if you didn't love me. I'd never love again. Like in the summer at the Silver Beach, blanket laying, sandy feet. I'm just saying how lonely I'd be if you didn't love me. I'd never love again.
And no one else would do if I didn't have you. I'd never love again.
Like in the fall, naked trees, autumn breeze,
Holding you.
holding me. If I didn't have you, honey, no one else would do.
No one else would do.
If I didn't have you, no one else would do. No one else would do. If I didn't have you.
yeah.
Now, welcome to my rehearsal of learning that song.
See, this is the kind of stuff you're not going to see on the big stages of the big country music.
If I play it, I'll get it perfect before I get on the stage.
Would you want to run through it again if we can?
I don't know if I'll get any better.
All right, well, there's a couple of ahs in there.
That makes it real. That makes it real. Yeah.
At least you didn't hit me or nothing.
I usually hit him.
All right. Let's see with it.
Maybe you could just like not use the entire song. I don't know.
Okay.
I love that.
I think it's great. It's very natural.
Well, as long as you got me talking, saying I've never played this before,
Yeah.
because I feel like totally unprofessional.
Well, for the convenience of it, I could go ahead and do a song, and then we could go to the piano for your.
Yeah. So
Okay,
we'll
it's
only
just
move one
fun.
time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Then have
I'll
to play
take off
something
my
real pretty.
strap-on tools. I like to call them.
Long edit that.
Sounds very sexy, doesn't it?
Oh yes.
there's
All right.
something, there's always been something sexy about Mama's Got a Squeeze Box.
That's right. The accordion is probably one of the sexiest instruments ever invented, and I don't think they get enough play these
Or
days.
a beautiful woman playing the viola.
Oh, you're
Between
right.
Oh,
her
yes.
thighs.
You know,
I maybe I'm like a woman.
in the Lawrence Welk Orchestra, the only female band member ever played the cello, actually. And she was the only female band member in the entire show of the 40-year history.
Oh yeah, cello, not viola.
Yeah, she
Viola's a
played
big
the cello.
fun.
Yeah, she played the cello.
I actually
Kristen
was watching her last night.
Yeah,
we watch it every
I'm a
Saturday.
huge Lawrence Welk fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I love them.
You
Really
sit there
do.
with the bubbles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, are we still rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to sing now?
Whatever you want to do.
All right. This is the song we were talking about. This is going to be the title of the album. And like I say, it's about the Gulf Coast, and it's called Child of Highway 90. I come from a shipyard town where a working, welding, lunchbox crowd sweats hard until the shift winds down. That's life in a shipyard town. But when it came time to play, where palm trees and the girls would sway, old Highway 90 led the way. And still does to this day. I'm a child of Highway 90. She's still calling out my name. I learned life and love and lonesome, traveling her way. believe me,
I
that
like
would
to
be
have the little lyrics printed out, and I won't
that'd be
mess
quite
it
an
up.
honor. On the record, we do have a female vocalist, so
good.
you'd be more than welcome. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, I love singing harmony.
All right.
It's almost as good as singing lead. I think it is as good as singing.
Now, how about a Suzy song at the piano?
Yes.
Okay, I'll leave the lid down. Well, there's so many songs to choose from which to play, but because we've mentioned my dad several times, I'll play all a song I wrote for him when I was like 25 years old, which is a long time ago. But it's true. I was so young then I thought I might still have children, so that's in there. You'll hear it. I was born with my father's eyes and my mother's disposition. Now and then, in a town this size, well, it's a cross to bear the resemblance. Once I ran away to Memphis to find someone different to be, but all I could change was my address, and now I know I'll always see through my father's eyes. Yeah, my dad, he's still going strong, and he's still in love with my mother. And I just know we could last that long if we work things out together. If this world is any indication, it's a longer and longer shot. But I think we could be the exception. Hell, I just can't see why not through my father's eyes. Though we may travel fast, travel far, one thing we can't get past is who we are, yeah. If someday we should have a child, I hope he's just like his father. Heart of gold, brilliant smile, and a perfect sense of humor. Or maybe some combination of the best that we both can be. And wouldn't it be amazing to see him looking back at me through my father's eyes? Through my father's eyes. I was born with my father's eyes and my mother's disposition.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Lovely. I think you sang that at the show, didn't you?
Probably.
I think you did.
I usually do it, yeah, because it's like one that I don't fumble around and make as many mistakes as the new ones. The new ones I make mistakes. But
It's lovely.
As you saw earlier.
as you saw,
Or whatever, and he's all those words, you know, and he sings, and he's walking, and all people hear it, and he stops, and he goes, "Did I just sing this verse?" And everybody's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, good," and he just keeps talking.
Jamie asked him to play this special chord that he played at the end of one of the songs he played on Jamie's record. And he was like, "I don't remember. Was it this chord?" Everybody laughed. And then I said, "Stay up here and play along with other songs of Jamie's if you want to, because he's so fast and quick and good that he could if he tried." But he said, "I'll just leave when I feel like it." It's about halfway through the next song. He's like, "Eh."
Yeah, these weird little changes, and he was just like, you know.
Speaking of the squirrel, you know, like I say, I was happy when, being from Pascagoula, when our mayor presented the key to the city for that song too. That was really cool.
He made a great video of that.
Yes, it was very
Now
good.
you know Buddy
It's a
wrote
good
that.
I know.
Buddy
yeah,
Calvin and his
Buddy
wife
Calvin,
Carlene.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he's good friends with Buddy. Buddy and he have done a lot of
And
collaborating.
having grown up there are several churches that could easily be described as the church of the self-righteous that he mentions in the song.
First Self-Righteous Church. And
Self-righteous.
Sister Bertha Bevan.
Yes, we had several of those too.
And in the video, Sister